The knock on my door came late in the afternoon, a soft tap that broke the haze of my quiet routine. I wasn't expecting anyone, and the sound jolted me from the couch, where I'd been sinking into the familiar rhythm of solitude. My life had always moved in predictable patterns: work, home, the occasional errand. I'd convinced myself I didn't need more than that, burying any fleeting longing for connection beneath the weight of routine. But that knock changed everything. I opened the door to find Officer Chase standing in the dim hallway, her uniform crisp, her badge catching the faint light. She was tall, commanding, with a sternness in her eyes that softened just enough to make me pause. There was something about her, something I couldn't name, that sent a strange heat through my chest. "Good afternoon, ma'am," she said, her voice calm but laced with authority. "I'm Officer Chase. We've had a complaint about noise from this unit. Just need to check a few things, if that's all right." Her presence unsettled me, not because she was threatening, but because of the quiet confidence she carried, filling the space between us with an unspoken charge. I nodded, stepping aside to let her in, my voice unsteady despite my efforts. "Of course, come in." As she moved past me, I noticed the way her uniform fit her, the deliberate sound of her boots against the wooden floor. She seemed to command the room, her every movement precise, her gaze sharp yet measured. I tried to shake the feeling, telling myself it was nothing, just a routine visit. But my eyes kept drifting to her, drawn to the intensity she radiated. The visit was brief, a formality. She glanced around my small apartment, checked the windows, and asked about my neighbors. Her questions were professional, but there was a moment, her eyes lingering a beat too long, her voice softening just slightly that felt like more. I couldn't tell if I was imagining it, but the air between us felt heavier, charged with something I didn't know how to name. When she left, she paused in the doorway, her gaze locking with mine. "Thanks for your time," she said, her smile tight but carrying a weight I couldn't ignore. "If anything comes up, don't hesitate to call." I muttered a quick response, and the door clicked shut behind her. I stood there, staring at the empty space where she'd been, a strange feeling twisting in my gut. It was just a cop doing her job, I told myself, but the memory of her eyes, her voice, her presence lingered. Over the next few days, I couldn't shake it. I replayed the encounter, dissecting every glance, every word, wondering if I'd imagined the tension. I tried to dismiss it as a fleeting attraction, but the truth was, she'd left something behind, a pull I couldn't ignore. A week later, the doorbell rang late in the evening, sharp and urgent. My heart jumped as I opened the door to find Officer Chase again, but this time she was different. Her uniform was disheveled, a thin trail of blood running from a scrape near her temple. She gripped the doorframe, steadying herself, her breathing uneven. "Hey," she said, her voice low. "Sorry for showing up like this." I stared, my mind racing. "What happened?" "I'm fine," she said, brushing it off with a scoff. "Some idiot broke into a house down the block. Got the call while I was nearby." She bolted, clipped me in the process. She touched the scrape, wincing slightly. I frowned, glancing past her into the quiet hallway, half expecting chaos, but there was nothing. "Are you sure you're okay?" I asked, my voice firmer now. She exhaled, rubbing her face. I just need a second, and maybe a drink, if you've got one." The request caught me off guard, but I didn't hesitate. "Come in," I said, stepping aside. She walked past me, her movements controlled but heavy, and sat at my small dining table without waiting for an invitation. I grabbed a glass of water and set it in front of her. "Sorry about the doorbell," she said, her voice drifting over as she stared at the glass. "Didn't mean to make it sound like an emergency." "It's fine," I replied, sitting across from her. "I thought you were about to knock the door down." That earned a faint smirk, but she seemed lost in thought, her fingers tightening around the glass. I noticed the scrape on her temple again, the skin red around it. You should clean that, I said, standing to grab a damp washcloth from the bathroom. When I handed it to her, she pressed it to the wound, wincing slightly. You a medic or something? She asked, a hint of amusement in her voice. Just not an idiot, I shot back. Another smirk, this one carrying something warmer. She leaned back, exhaling slowly. You ever have one of those nights where everything feels too fast and too slow at the same time? I nodded and she continued, her voice softer. That's what this feels like. 1 second I'm chasing someone, the next I'm here. And I don't even know why I came to your door. Her words hit me, the quiet admission sending a ripple through my chest. I swallowed, trying to keep my voice steady. Maybe you just needed a place to catch your breath. She held my gaze for a long moment, then nodded. Maybe. The silence that followed was heavy, charged with something unspoken. She stood, thanking me for the water, but neither of us moved toward the door. Her eyes flicked over me, and she hesitated before saying, "Take care, you too," I murmured. She paused in the doorway, glancing back. "If they catch the girl, I'll let you know." And then she was gone, leaving the apartment feeling different, as if she'd left a piece of herself behind. Days passed, but the memory of that night clung to me. I tried to focus on my routine, but my thoughts kept drifting to her. When my phone rang a week later, an unfamiliar number flashing on the screen, my heart skipped. "Hello, hey, it's Officer Chase." Her voice sent a jolt through me, though I tried to sound casual. "Hey, what's up? I'm working on some paperwork," she said, her tone careful. "Your name came up in a follow-up. Nothing serious, just need a signature. Mind if I stop by?" I agreed, my pulse quickening despite my efforts to stay calm. 30 minutes later, she was at my door, her uniform neat, but her expression softer, almost uncertain. "Hey," she said, stepping inside. She held a clipboard, but the air between us felt heavier than a simple signature warranted. I cleared my throat. "So, what's this about? It's a follow-up on that noise complaint," she said, handing me the clipboard. Our fingers brushed as I took it, a fleeting contact that sent a spark through me. Her breath hitched, and I knew she felt it too. I signed the paper, trying to focus, but her gaze lingered, warm and heavy. When I handed it back, she hesitated. "Look, I didn't want this to be weird," she said, rubbing the back of her neck. "I don't know what it is about being here with you, but it feels like I shouldn't keep showing up, and yet I can't stay away." My stomach clenched. "You're not the only one who feels that way," I admitted. Her eyes flickered with relief, but neither of us moved. The space between us crackled, and just when I thought she might say more, she stepped back. "I should go," she murmured, but her hesitation lingered. She left with another promise to let me know if they caught the suspect, and I stood there, the silence thick with everything we hadn't said. That night, sleep wouldn't come. My thoughts spun around Chase, the unspoken tension, the pull I couldn't ignore. A sharp knock broke the quiet, louder and more urgent than before. My heart raced as I opened the door to find her standing there, no uniform this time, just a wrinkled shirt, sleeves rolled up, her face set in an unreadable mask. "We got her," she said, her voice low. "The girl who broke in. She's in custody." I blinked, processing. "The one from the neighbor's place, yes," she said, her jaw tight. "But there's more. We think she wasn't working alone. There are signs someone else was involved, and we don't know if they're still out there." Her eyes darkened. "I don't want you to be alone tonight." My breath caught, not just from fear, but from the way she said it, the roughness in her voice. I stepped back, and she followed, the door clicking shut behind her. The space between us shrank, the air thick with something unspoken. "Are you sure they were after me?" I asked, my voice quiet. "I don't know," she admitted. "But it doesn't sit right with me." Her gaze held mine, and she added, softer, "I couldn't leave without making sure you were okay." Something in me cracked. I reached out, my fingers grazing her wrist, and the contact sent a jolt through me. She froze, but her hand curled around mine, gripping tightly. I don't know what this is, I whispered, but I can't ignore it anymore. Her eyes flickered, and then she moved, pressing me against the wall, her body warm and solid against mine. "Tell me to stop," she murmured, her voice rough. "And I will." I didn't. I surged forward, kissing her with all the desperation we'd both been holding back. Her groan was raw, her hands pulling me closer, and everything the tension, the longing unraveled in a chaotic, messy rush. We stumbled to the couch, clothes falling away, our bodies tangled in a desperate need to close the distance we'd kept for too long. Afterward, we lay there breathless, tangled together. The silence was warm, not heavy, and for the first time, I felt at peace. "Are you okay?" she asked softly, her voice breaking the quiet. "Yeah," I said, tracing her collarbone. "I think I am."